And welcome back to Holden's Golden Age of Wargaming. And we are on part 20 and the final part of our Let's Play of Soldiers. And this is basically a quick review and then a mod update of Soldiers itself. Um, what did I think of Soldiers? Well, I think it's a good game. It's uh, pretty straightforward. However, the rule book it's quite clunky. 3.5 pages. Yeah, as I said in one of the comments, uh, was that hey, it's only 3.5 pages. It's going to be simple. Well, no, it wasn't that anything in of itself was hard, but the rule book is like a wall of text. And once again, yes, I am a modern gamer, and I am spoiled. I will admit that. But this is everything here makes sense. When I read it, it pretty much makes sense. However, it was I as we, if you actually watch through the video series, you can see I would miss something, and then I'd be rereading, and then I would notice, oh God, and so yeah, it was definitely hard for me to assimilate all the information. And like the scenario I played didn't even do the full 3.5 pages. I don't think. I didn't do improved positions. Didn't do the trench rules. Uh, so yeah, it was definitely clunky. And I'm trying to think, why did I have such a problem with the disruptions? I mean, I always come back to the disruptions. And I think it's because I'm nowadays you always have player aids with your war games, and it will like here's the sequence of play, but it doesn't say anything here about take the disruptions off. Like obviously right after movement phase, uh, the first player would take off his friendly um, disruptions, and the second player would take off his enemy phase disruptions off his units. And it just and now that makes sense to me now. I understand that now, but boys, when I started, it didn't. Like as if you watch those videos, you could tell. So, uh, but so the rules were even through their only 3.5 pages, which I feel kind of stupid that I couldn't. I just didn't assimilate everything right away. But boys, I did not, because it's just, and as I said for a couple things, it's a single hex may only be fired on once, and that's under line of sight rules. I don't, I mean, no wonder I didn't pick up on that right away, or at least in my opinion, no wonder I didn't pick up on it right away. It should be, uh, where is it here? I think actually it's up here. Is there procedure? Yeah, right here, procedure. So, and the rules are just, they're not up to, of course, they're not up to today's standards. And I can see why rule books nowadays do things the way they do from playing this game with this rule set. I like this. I like the combat results table. Um, however, and I think I've read somewhere that this game is based on Panzerblitz, but without all the armor rules. And I know I did play Panzerblitz a ton when I was 10 years old, but I can't remember those days too well now. And I know that people referred to Panzerblitz, the original rules, uh, as Panzer Bush. And boys, does it ever show in this game. You don't want to be out. You want to move from cover to cover. And of course, looking at this map, you can't do that in a lot of situations. And then the artillery is killer. I mean, especially the German artillery. That's 5-1 odds, and looking at 5-1, you have a 66% chance killing every unit. Um, So you're basically just trying to run from woods to woods or from town to town or trying to block the line of sight, which is, I think, World War One, obviously there's a reason why the boys dug those trenches to get out of the line of fire of the artillery and of the other infantry. But I do like it. I think it is very cool. And I mean, if I played this scenario over or played another scenario, I would definitely play it very, very different. Would it be as interesting to watch? I don't think so, because I would be, you have to be very cautious. You have to move from cover to cover. And when you would do your actual assault, I mean, you'd have to have too many targets for them to fire at. And yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. But however, I guess this is a good time to announce that my grand scheme of things here is that every 10th video series I do, there will be the 10th one will be a replay voted on by you guys. So of the previous 9 games I've played, you guys choose which one you want me to replay. So as of right now, if it was Austerlitz, I would replay Austerlitz. It's a one scenario game. However, I imagine it would be quite different from what I played on the first series. And then if it was soldiers or it's a multi-scenario game, I will play, of course, a different scenario, unless you guys really want me to play the exact same scenario. What else is there? The attacking of the hexes, the hex being the defense value. Yeah, I'm not sure about that either, right? I mean, that's only a 2 defense on an empty hex. Like, God, it was just so punishing, so punishing. But once again, I mean, knowing what I know now, I would play it very differently. Solo, of course, maybe the disruptions wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't playing solo. But mind you, I've never played a war game solo until Austerlitz, and then this Soldiers would be the second game I've ever played solo. Uh, any attempt by me in the past to play a solo game would always peter out after 1 or 2 turns. However, so that was partly one of the reasons why I did this, is because by talking to you, even though I'm basically talking to myself, it's like I'm interacting with somebody, and it's so far it's worked. I've managed to get through 2 games. So, but yeah, so going on a baseline of Austerlitz compared to soldiers, because that's all I have to work on so far. I would give Austerlitz a 7 out of 10. And I would give soldiers a 6. Now, a lot of people think 6 out of 10 is bad, but no, 5 out of 10 is I'll play it again. But I'm not really excited about it. 6 out of 10, I'll play it again. It's good, right? And then 7 out of 10, I play it again. It's very good. So and so on. 10 out of 10 being perfect. So you'll never see one of those. So far we got Austerlitz 7 out of 10, Soldiers 6 out of 10. Why? Well, playing through the 2 games, I can see why I go, you go became the norm. The mutual fire, where you move and then the enemy gets 2 times to fire at you for every time you move. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not. It is very deadly. I'll give it that, and that does model World War One. World War One was extremely deadly to the poor men that fought in it. But I go, you go. I can see why that became the default. Zones of control. I like zones of control. Even through here, you can move right around a unit. It doesn't feel very. Just any military unit is going to exert. You're not going to run out in front of a bunch of guys with guns. That there's a certain area around them that you're going to kind of, be pretty cautious. I understand zone of controls, so even though it was cool not having zones of control, I definitely miss them. and I liked it in Austerlitz. The other thing is advancing after combat. Very important. Like, I know in this game, when you destroy a unit, it gets an eliminated marker, and nobody can move in that hex. Well, sometimes you could line it up so, you could destroy a unit, and then your enemy, you can't move in there, and then your enemy actually gets in there first, right? If you don't do it right. Which, as the fight goes on and you destroy a unit, you should be moving into the area that they were, at least in my mind. So zones of control, advancing after combat, I like those. I really do. And I understand why they survive to this day. So, but this game, this is a 1972. And at that time, so many things weren't set yet. The formula wasn't set. I know one of the criticisms of SPI is how they become very cookie cutter. But I don't know that for a fact myself, and I guess we'll see that as we go. However, it would make it easier to just open up a box, put out the counters on the map, and play. So, I mean, that's why I like system games nowadays, like Standard Combat System and several of the GMT series, right? And Command and Color. Like, I know it's not. A lot of people don't think it's a real war game, but I actually do think Command and Color is an excellent gateway war game, because you can move from one to the other very easily. Like, after playing Command and Color Ancients, I can go to Command and Color Napoleon. Memoir 44 is where I started originally. I mean, so I like the system. I like a system where I understand the general rules, and then each scenario, each battle has its own specific rules, right? So it's not a huge amount of fun to digest a huge new rulebook, at least for me, each time I play. So, but anyways, getting back to what I was originally saying, 1972, everything was still in flux. They didn't have wargaming, the I go, you go, zones of control, advanced after movement or after combat. They didn't have all that stuff down, and I think this was a great experiment. And I don't know if this game was updated or any of that. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this journey, but we will see. But I did like it, and it's a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 is not a bad review, not a bad rating for me. That means that I would play it again, and I think it's good. The final thing I'll do in this video, because I've been rambling long enough, is I'm going to do another update for soldiers. So we load that. And basically this update is now going into what I'm basically trying to do with each mod I do now, and that is all the extras. So I basically have gone through the material I have available, and basically there's a scenario from Phoenix 25, issue 25. There's a scenario from Phoenix 31, so the first battle you Ypres, Prelude to the Marne, and then a couple Moves magazine articles. Game profile in Moves 4, and then also final one here, Moves 10, that gives us vehicles for soldiers. So I have, I'll just reload this, updated. As soon as I finish this video, I'm going to send this update to Tabletop Simulator, and so now you have even more stuff to play with. And next in line for me is the next game in the first couple of years of SPI, and I'm basically I organized them by weight according to Board Game Geek, which I understand is not exactly correct in how complicated a game is, because, for example, the next game on my list is Borodino, the Battle of Borodino, which is actually the very first, it's one of the very first Napoleon games by SPI. So we're going back in time again. I think we're going back to, I guess it's the summer of 1972, if I remember correctly. So, and this is based on Napoleon at Waterloo, the introductory game by SPI. I think there's a bit more to it than Napoleon at Waterloo. However, I'll probably find it easier to play and learn after Austerlitz than I did soldiers, but according to Board Game Geek, by weight, it's a little bit higher than soldiers. So that is the next game in my journey. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, take care and have a great night.